Sergeant. I'm sorry. You're blind and you're stubborn.
And I'm tired, and I got too many cases, and I just don't have the time, okay? Now, look, I know why he shot her, and the case is closed. Closed, you understand?
And that is your final word.
Now you got it.
Sergeant, you're wrong. Suppose this. Suppose someone else wanted to kill that girl through Manny Farkas. Now, they may try again.
Mrs. Fletcher, this is not your little fishing village. You get yourself in trouble, and chances are I'm not going to be able to help you out.
I know that. Goodbye, Sergeant.
Buenas noches, everybody. This is Sean.
No chase. Hey, this is Steve.
No chase means evening, right? Or is it afternoon? I don't know. Okay, we just live in Texas. Why would we know this? Yeah, we don't live in Texas. We don't live in LA. We do live in Texas, but we don't live in LA. Anyway, we're here on episode 13 of the Cabot Cove Confab podcast, which is an attempted Murder, She Wrote podcast.
I like that, yeah.
Because we're reviewing a story today which doesn't have any murder in it, but there's some attempted murder.
No, there's murder.
There is, well...
There's one murder.
Okay, all right, you know,
one.
Okay. I know what I just said is kind of a spoiler, but whatever. Mm-hmm. Broadway Malady from season 1 of the show.
You said Malady. I thought it was Broadway Malady.
Oh, really? Okay.
So what is it?
No, it's Malady.
Malady. Okay.
But it's spelled Malady. Like, you know, Broadway Malady. Malady. Like, they're doing a play on words Broadway Melody.
Oh, that makes more sense, right? Melody.
Okay, yeah.
Melody. All right, sure.
There used to be these old movies called like Broadway Melody of 1931 and Broadway Melody of 1927 and so on.
Oh, wow. Okay. I did not know that. I did not know that.
I did not know that. Yeah, it's wild stuff, isn't it? It's
wild and wacky stuff. Yes, and it stars someone very famous in this episode, Milton Berle. He plays the killer, spoilers, Lou Friedman. So
no, I think it was more like, hey, Milton Berle's here. Why don't we write him in to do something? Okay.
You're right. Milton is a big fan. And Angela's like, yeah, let's have him on. It's almost like they found out after they wrote the script and the story had already gone into production. They're like, Milton wants to be in an episode. They're like, we could squeeze him in here for a little bit in one scene. But we'll get there. We'll get there tonight. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, is there any pre-show banter, Steve?
Oh,
other than the depressing story you told me about
the
lady before we started.
Yeah, that was depressing. We were, if you want to Google it, ladies and gentlemen, the horror story of, what did I say the first name was?
Elizabeth, I think. Elizabeth Janke.
It was Isabel?
Isabel Janke, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Janke, yeah. Don't look it up. So, I understand you got a new video game console, Sean.
Yes, I don't know that people care about this, but I got me a Xbox Series X. I only paid $150 over the MSRP to get it, but I'm the only kid in the block who has it, and I'm still playing the same games. But they look better.
So they look better. Okay, I was going to say, is there a big difference between the old Xbox and the new Xbox?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I used to have an Xbox One, and now I dismantled that, and I'm going to sell it for like $120 or whatever, declutter. And yeah, so there we are. But really, the readers, they don't want to hear about that.
No,
do
probably
they?
not. I would think so.
Okay, yeah. Do they want to hear about my new cat? No, I don't have a new cat.
I was about to say, holy cow, you're the worst. No, I did start watching the new Star Wars show, Book of Boba Fett. Mm-hmm. Enjoying that. I quite like that. What else? Pretty boring 2022.
What?
Pretty boring 2022 so far.
Yeah, I'm still on The Mandalorian because we're like the last people in the world to watch anything, apparently, including Murder, She Wrote. I mean, I've never seen Die Hard. There's some other movie somebody mentioned the other day, and I'm like, well, I've never seen that. What? You haven't seen that? Because I'm usually the one that says that. What? You've never seen Star Wars? How can you never seen Star Wars? Because you ever meet that person and they're like, well, I've never seen a single Star Wars movie. Why aren't you a petulant asshole? What do you... But I'm going back, I'm asking you, well, I've never seen an episode, I don't watch TV. Well, what the fuck do you do? What do you, help the homeless 24/7? I don't watch movies. Well, do you like anything? Do you just make podcasts and brag how smart you are?
Ooh.
Anyway.
What are we talking about now? I know it's not me.
I don't know. Nobody in particular. I'm just having kind of flashbacks to various individuals that I've met over my life. Would be like...
And this was recent.
People who watch Mad Max Fury Road and turn to me, it's been 20 minutes since we started watching.
Oh, your father.
There's been no talking.
Your father.
Oh, yeah, my dad. One time, I don't remember what movie it was. It was like, okay, well, let's go see Toy Story 3. I don't watch cartoons. It's not a cartoon, really. It's animated, but...
Yeah, it's animated.
I'm just doing my voice. Oh, I had a dream last night. I swear to God.
Here we go.
Real dream. That I went on a cruise, which has nothing to do with what we were talking about beforehand. And you know who we went on the cruise with? The Rose family from Schitt's Creek. All four of them.
I was thinking about that show today. That's funny.
I love that show. Anyway, yeah.
So, I did want to ask you, because you're a lawyer and I want your opinion. I figure you can offer some insight, some wonderful insight that nobody else would have. So I was watching a YouTube video. I do a lot of that. Usually on Bigfoot and missing people and all the national parks that have all the horrible things that happen to you when you go. They were talking about Alec Baldwin on this particular video and how he's refusing to forfeit his cell phone. And I guess the Arizona Police Department is subpoenaed, or is that the word, where we need this for evidence?
Yeah.
But he's in New York. So he refuses, and they're saying, but it's important, it's going to provide some important evidence, or I don't know, maybe corroborate something or another. But he's refusing to give his phone. Now, why do you think, in your opinion, would he refuse to do that?
Because private and not relevant. What's on his phone that's relevant to what happened in that accident?
I don't know, but apparently the police department thinks there's something of value there.
I don't know. If I was the judge, I would want more information. Like, why are you seeking his phone? Are you thinking that the crime was premeditated and he did it with somebody else and communicated his intention to do, I think not fly with me.
I think it's been. They're saying they're trying to work with the New York Police Department to get the phone. So I think the judge has already allowed it to be taken, but he's refusing to forfeit it. So here's my theory. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago the person who didn't kill himself, Jeffrey Epstein. There was supposed to be a list of famous actors, politicians that were going to shock everybody. I sometimes wonder if we were to see that list, if Alec Baldwin is on that list. Like there's evidence of his involvement with that person.
Well, I don't know. I can't.
That's
comment
speculation.
On any of this.
I mean, totally speculation.
I mean, if you are a sex child trafficker, do you actually keep a quote unquote list of people? What is the purpose of that list?
Well, why wouldn't he forfeit his phone? I think it's something that's not related to the case that he doesn't want out. And I'm thinking absolutely the worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst is that he sacrifices babies and eats them.
Well, they did that on the island, didn't they?
The least what?
Said they did that on the island, didn't they? On the Epstein Island?
They weren't. Okay. Only if you're like a QAnon baby. But
what?
It's a QAnon thing. Look that up. I'm not talking about that. I swear to God. It might be he just doesn't want us. It might be just principle. Like you can't go into my phone. You don't have God damn, this is not my
private conversation. Some kind of private conversation. He doesn't want them access to.
Yeah, you don't have a reasonable suspicion, or you. Oh God, what is it? Like when somebody searches your house, they have to have this, and it's not reasonable suspicion. You don't have somebody screaming this at me that knows it. Can you hear that?
No. Someone screaming at you?
Okay, good.
No,
good. No, it's somebody's playing loud music in the other room. You have to have a certain level of, and it has to be signed by a judge.
Well, I think that's the case here. It was signed by a judge.
Oh, okay.
But Baldwin is refusing to forfeit.
Probable cause. They need probable cause to believe. What was the crime that they think he committed?
Shooting the assistant director. That was pre. No, I don't know because I haven't been following the case that closely. But there's a lot of like, well, who's at fault for the gun being loaded and stuff like that. So I would just have thought if things played out normally that he was just in a bad situation. He was handed a gun, didn't know it was loaded. Did his thing, but apparently. There's suspicion there. There's suspicion there.
There's a part of me. There's a part of me that wants to watch this whole thing fold out, and it's like a whole Columbo episode where the day before, we open up and it says Columbo and he's switching out the blanks with the real ones or doing whatever, and then the day of. But I don't think that's. I think the worst thing is maybe negligent homicide or murder in the second. Or what are they going to find on his phone that's going to...
That's the thing. What are they?
If you
I just would have thought... I thought he would just be innocent in this whole case, but the fact that he's not wanting to give his phone to the department makes me start to question that.
I'm not going to let the police take his phone. I'm just saying. I'm not going to do it. If I was his lawyer, I would object too, and if I was Alec Baldwin, I wouldn't like it either. Even if I didn't have, pictures of shirtless Asian men in their 20s and 30s on my phone. Okay. Speaking of which,
let's get back to Broadway Malady.
Malady.
So we are introduced. Okay, it takes place in New York City. And we're introduced to Rita Bristol, played by Vivian Blaine. And she is watching an old movie this is Rita here. She's watching an old movie, which happens to be a movie that Vivian was in. I thought it was very similar to the Columbo episode "Forgotten Lady" with Janet Leigh.
Yes, I thought of that too. Could
start off just the same.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, that was what got her in. It was with the movie that she was watching there. But she's not watching walking my baby back home in this one. She's watching something else.
But no, we find out that Rita is kind of an old starlet that's past her prime, but she's been talked into doing a Broadway musical with her daughter, Patty, and her son, Barry, who probably looks very familiar to a lot of us. Barry is going to produce the Broadway musical, and then they're going to have a guy named Cy Parrish, who also looks very familiar to me. I don't know what he's in. I just recognize him.
I can tell you.
Oh, good. Because
why is Barry familiar? Barry was not familiar to me.
Okay, Barry was in another Murder, She Wrote that we reviewed already.
Really?
Crimson Harvest. He was the other winery guy.
Oh, okay.
Remember, he's the guy that was flirting, and the
dead guy, the guy that gets
in the Midway. He dies in Midway. He's not the
yeah.
That guy. He's the same actor.
Huh. Okay, that makes sense. And he would have been like 10 years older in that, but wow.
He looked like he was in better shape by the way, in Crimson Harvest. He played Lars Anderson in that one.
Yeah. So yeah, it's being financed, or the person in charge of the financing is. I love this name, Cy Parrish. I mean, I'm glad it's not my name, but I think it's a cool name for a character in a mystery. Cy is played by an actor named Patrick O'Neill, and he was in 2 episodes of Columbo. He was in one called "Make Me a Perfect Murder," starring Trish Van. I can't remember her name now. Trish Van Devere as the killer, Kay. He played her boss. He was neither victim nor murderer in that, but he did play a murderer in the first season of Columbo in Blueprint for Murder, where he played the architect who kills Forrest Tucker and puts his body...
in the column, or the, what do they call them, the pillar,
the foundation of the building he's building, So he played a Columbo murderer. That is the only... By the way, I didn't do this before, but I want to read... we've been getting emails, and I've been neglectful in reading them, and somebody actually wrote in about this. Maybe not. Maybe I already read it. All right, I want to talk about the New York City thing. I'm just going to read these willy-nilly throughout the podcast, because I don't want to read them all at once. Because this is from Mike. Oh, sorry. I printed these up, old school style.
Wow.
Mike says, Sean and Steve, you guys are doing a great job with the podcast. It's more entertaining than the actual show.
Oh, ouch. Okay. Not a fan,
Mike,
huh?
Murder, She Wrote would have been much more entertaining if Angela Lansbury was always shit-faced.
I think there's an episode where she is. At least Pushing Up Roses did an episode on. I haven't seen it yet, but...
She's pretending to be shit-faced.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there. I agree with Sean. Steve, like anyone our age, should know the old El Paso ads. The correct response to New York City in any context is, New York City, get a rope. Have you guys upgraded your recording equipment? The drinking pouring audio on Cabot Cove Confab is crystal clear. And then he says, be seeing you, Mike. Okay, I want to tell you something right now, Mike.
Yeah.
The audio that you hear of... I'm drinking some iced tea. I always make a thermos before I go to work. The audio that you hear of the liquid pouring is actual liquid pouring.
Oh, on my end, I'm just going to the bathroom.
Refreshing iced tea.
Actually, I try very carefully not to make that sound because I am pouring throughout the episode while we talk, but I do it very slowly, and I make sure my cup doesn't have ice because you bitched at me once for having ice in my cup.
No,
I notice you have ice in your cup right now. Oh, okay. It's fine for you.
As long as you don't do this when you put your drink down. That's my only because that's.
And I've done that?
Drink down. In the past, yeah. You stop. I did it too. I found out I was doing it. All right. So what were you saying now?
Taskmaster, you are.
It's all Steve. It's all about quality.
Yes, we want that for sure. Okay, so back to the episode. So we get our first scene in first of 2 scenes in Cabot Cove.
Yeah. You know what the irony is? Is like she moves to New York in the last few seasons.
Right.
Then we're like, okay, season 1, and ironically, we get the New York episode, the one episode where she goes to New York in season 1. You know.
Yeah. So we have Grady, her nephew. He is calling her and inviting her Aunt Jess to see the Always April Broadway musical, the one that Rita and her daughter are going to be starring in. And apparently Grady is the accountant for the production. And he also wants Jessica to meet his new girlfriend, Kate. So I've only seen a few episodes with Grady, and I understand he's a kind of a on and off recurring character in the series. Yes. At least at the very beginning. And I'm starting to see now the episode we reviewed, the one where he got married. That was probably the...
Wait, we did not review that one. I think you just watched that one on your own.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to talk about it, but there's a part where I guess it's the arc of Grady. Because now I'm starting to see a pattern here with Grady. Just within the first couple episodes I've seen him in. So he's got a new girlfriend named Kate, and he wants Aunt Jessica to meet. I think the first time we saw... No, we haven't reviewed that one either. It was the very first episode where Grady's dating somebody in the publishing industry. So, never mind. But yeah, we're introduced to Kate. And Kate, by the way, is the understudy of Patty Bristol, the daughter.
Yeah. Okay. Put a pin in that, because I want to get back to that shortly.
Okay.
All right.
We're also introduced to the director, Mark Faber.
Oh, God, this guy's a dick, and I'm like, he's going to die.
Right. Yeah, I thought he was going to be one of the first victims, but I recognize him as well. I just don't know from what.
Really?
Yeah. Not from Columbo, but something like some TV program from the 80s. Maybe Maybe Barney Miller or that was 70s. Maybe Love Boat. I don't know.
There was somebody that was on Barney Miller in this.
Was it?
Oh my God!
Was the guy the mug? Oh no, it was the detective, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was in Barney Miller. Okay. So this guy, he played. Holy shit! What the fuck? Sorry, I didn't mean to swear that much. He was in Donald Trump's The Art of the Deal, the movie. Oh, this is a joke movie. Never mind. This is not a real movie. And this is from 2016. We had Johnny Depp playing Donald Trump. And this actor who plays Mark, Robert Morse, he played Walter Hoving, who I don't know who that is. Patton Oswalt is in it. Okay, I don't know. Henry Winkler. I'm not going to. But he was apparently in Mad Men, which is a show I never got into. He played a character named Bertram Cooper. That's like his second listing on IMDb. He also played Truman Capote in an episode of American Playhouse. And he also played Santa Claus in Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I don't see anything here that you would know him from. I mean, I don't know everything.
He just has one of those faces that looks familiar.
Punchable. Okay.
Punchable. So he's the director. Obviously, he's getting tired of some of the antics that are going on during rehearsals, specifically from Rita. Rita Bristol, I guess she feels she should be compensated or given graces because she's such a famous person. So she has a lot of temper tantrums on set, and he's kind of tired of her. And so he takes it out, even though he can't really take it out on Rita, he takes it out on her daughter, Patty, and just constantly insults her and, makes her feel like shit. Sort of like everybody's boss.
And there's a scene where Patty is she's rehearsing a number, and she starts singing it, and I thought to myself, are we going to have to listen to the whole song? Thankfully, we don't. Not that there was anything wrong with that, or that I hate musicals, I do. But
I thought...
I don't think that Murder, She Wrote is the proper...
Well, no. And, by the way, I thought the actress who plays Patty had a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
Sorry, you felt that... I'm sorry, you felt that you thought it was going to be too long or overdrawn. But
no. Her name is Lorna. Excuse me, Lorna Luft, and she's the daughter of Judy Garland and Sidney Luft, and so she's the half sister of Liza Minnelli.
Really?
So that's that probably accounts for why she has such a great voice.
Wow.
And now looking at her, I think I can see Judy Garland. So,
yeah, you're right. now that you say that, it does seem like very believable.
But I bet you she can turn off a lamp. Oh man, do yourself a favor. Go to the YouTube and look up Liza Minnelli turns off a lamp, and it's Kirsten Dunst, Kirsten Wiig, sorry, as Liza Minnelli turning off a lamp. I need to go turn off a lamp, and Jonah Hill's sitting there. Well, Liza, baby, you're doing great tonight, but hurry up when the show starts at 6. All right, let me turn off this lamp. You gotta see it. It's so funny. I can't believe I'm not drinking alcohol this episode.
I'm shocked that you're the sober one.
Liza Minnelli turns off a lamp.
So, back to tonight's episode.
Okay.
We get our first clue. I know you like clues.
I love clues.
So,
I love clues.
Rita gets all pissy with the director. So she they have some words, and she storms off. And the director kind of side talks to Cy, the finance guy, and says, I hope she can stay off the sauce.
And I was like, sauce.
When did sauce stop being used as a synonym for alcohol? That's a great...
I think long before we were created. But yeah. Do you like musical theater, Steve? Have you ever been to any musical theater?
I like musicals. I don't know if I've ever been to a musical theater. I'm sure I have. I just don't remember.
Well, I've been to a few of them, Stephen. I really try to get into it, and we've talked about them on some of the other podcasts that I do, like 1001 Movies, or more specifically, the Best Picture podcast.
Hold on. I can't drink 2 drinks at once. Hold on.
Fiddler on the Roof. I like that movie. Chicago, don't like that as one, but I like the music. But I want to share something that somebody told us, and I have to apologize. This is from John in England. He sent this in November, and as we record this is...
you're late.
Yeah, I don't know why I missed this one. He says, greetings, Sean and Steve.
I hate
Long-time listener since Columbo Con...
I hate it when I send fan mail to a podcast, and they never fucking read it. I've actually stopped listening to shows when that happens, so... Because I'm an asshole, and I have very little tolerance, so... Well, I would be surprised if John has stopped listening. Okay.
Hold on. Okay.
I think you need to email John and apologize and say, I am sorry.
Okay, maybe
it's my fault,
but
not
I
Steve's.
Okay. Steve, please. Okay, John, I apologize. I think I said earlier when I read an email, I said, oh, by the way, there were 2 emails and I lost one of them. I think this is the one that I lost, but then it reappeared. I'm not really good with computers. Excuses. It's like, that's why I've printed these out. So he says, greetings, Sean and... Whoops.
Oh, he deleted it.
The letter on the... Greetings, Sean and Steve. Longtime listener since Columbo Confab. Unfortunately late to the party for TARDIS Tavern. Always heard a couple, although I've heard a couple. He says, in London, at the Prince Charles Cinema, there's a few Murder, She Wrote solve-along screenings. I've been to a similar event for the film Clue, which was great fun, so may have to give these a shot. Keep up the good work. I was going to say something about a recent episode, but I've completely forgotten what it was I was going to mention. Oops, it's been one of those days. Regards, John, somewhere near London, UK. So it wasn't musical theater, I was wrong, but it was a solve-a-thon with Murder, She Wrote. That sounds like fun. I got to contact
Alamo. So how's that work?
Because they did that. I was... well, okay, I went to the one for Clue at Alamo Drafthouse, and it's not a solve-a-thon because everybody knows who the murderer or murderers are already, because the movie is about as old as what we're watching right now. But you are handed a card, and it has the name or a quote from the movie, like who says the quote. Or no, they put Clue cards out, and like I picked Colonel Mustard, and it had a quote for Colonel Mustard on the back of it. And then when he says a certain line, I have a what do you call those things where you pull the string, and it pops? They're not noisemakers. I don't know what to call them. Party poppers? I don't know.
Are you talking about those Christmas cracker things?
It makes the same sort of thing, except it's a small, little, tiny plastic thing. Anyway, so we did that. It was a quote along, but it wasn't a solve it. But yeah, so I don't know how you do a solve-a-thon, but that sounds like it would be a lot of fun. And yeah, I thought it was something musical, but it's not. Never mind.
Well, speaking of the UK, you actually reminded me of something. So the theater, I don't think they named the theater in this episode, but did it look familiar to you? At least the interior.
Yes, I think it's the same theater that we saw in the one from season 2 that we did already. Yeah. I can't remember the name of it.
Sing a Song of Murder with
there you go.
Emma McGill, the splitting image of Jessica, Emma McGill there. It was the Mayhew Music Hall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
Was it named for Peter Mayhew?
I don't think so, but maybe
great British actor.
Maybe
no longer with us.
Maybe. He before his passing, he lived in Texas somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting because it's just neat to see them reuse the sets. Like we've already seen that the mansion from the one we were just talking about, the Crimson Harvest. That's the same mansion or set that was used in that one with the ranch. What was it? Funeral at 50 Mile, our first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched another one off the record, by the way, another Murder, She Wrote, and that same set was used again. So I guess sets just get reused. When you've been on that long, I guess it just happens.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many... yeah, exactly. There's only so many, facades of buildings and buildings that you can use. Anyway, Okay. So Jessica travels to New York City, and I don't really know, is it supposed to be... She has dinner with the cast. And by the way, we didn't mention there's these 2 guys...
Oh, the writers?
And the writers, and they're never given names.
No.
And all they do is, whenever they're in the scene, they comment or they exchange glances or whatever. So I'm just going to call them Statler and Waldorf, because they're not really...
That's what I thought
suspects.
Of as names for them, too.
And so they go to dinner, and I'm not sure... It's at dinner, Barry announces that they're going to start in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I thought that Jessica was going there to see the play, but apparently not. So is she like, what the fuck, I got to stay here for 2 weeks now? Or is she like, I come back?
I was under the impression, too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But all we know is that according to Grady, that Rita is a big fan of hers. So she wanted to... As soon as she found out that Grady was related to Jessica, she had to see her. So
she was probably like, Grady, sweetheart, I want your aunt here now, or I'm gonna fucking cut a bitch. Do you understand, Grady? Get on that phone right now. That was her.
But yeah, so when we find out that Barry is going to take it to Broadway within 2 weeks, Mark, the director, he's obviously very annoyed. He's just not having it, and I think even Cy tells him, stop with the negativity.
I agree with Cy. Yeah, Mark is clearly an asshole.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I know we're talking this whole time, and I don't know how far we're in the recording, but no one's died yet. So we're getting there. We're almost there. So after the dinner, Barry and Patty, that's the brother and sister, they leave and they go to the parking garage, and we see Monsignor Kelly. He's proclaiming that the end is nigh.
He's Irish, and he's like blind, I think, or he's wearing.
No, he's blind. He's got to be. It's all the liquor he's drank. I mean, it has to be. He's drunk himself blind. He's either that or all the porn he's watched. So.
Oh God!
Wasn't that an old wives' tale that?
It's not watching porn. Blind? It's not too much porn. It's if you masturbate too much, you'll go blind.
What does that have anything to do with your eyes?
I don't know, Steve. I don't know. But I want to talk about this shot. I take it very personally.
Well, hold on. If anybody in our listeners do understand the connection between masturbation and blindness, please email us.
It's not a
Sean,
connection.
And
it's
Sean
not
will
a
read
thing.
it on the air.
I will be forced to read it on the air, I guess. All right, so they pass this guy Kelly, then they pass this card shark guy, and they're like, "Leave me alone," because he's doing that old switcheroo with the cards. And we have a
Three-card
shot
Monty.
of Patty and Barry walking towards the alley. In the background, parked across the street, is a white Mercury Grand Marquis, which happens to be the same car that was the first car that I ever drove. It's about 37 feet long, and you can't fit it into a parking space, but it's the same model. It may not be the same year.
It's probably the same car.
It's the same model and the same color. Yeah. My dad bought it off of some old lady in like 1993.
I think it might be
$1,000 and
$1,000 back in 1993.
Everything bad that could happen to it happened to it. So, as
you lost your virginity in it?
No, I didn't. Steve, please, can we focus on the story? So
you don't want bringing up the car. I'm trying to give some color to your story.
Okay, so Barry and Patty are walking in the alley to get to some parking lot somewhere, and this guy who looks like Kolchak the Night Stalker, who went on after he went on a bender, comes out and he says, "Your money or your life,"
and then pow,
and then pow, he shoots her.
He's literally after he says the sentence, he shoots her.
Yes,
and that's a clue.
And then the guy with the cards takes off. And Kelly is like, "Huh? What the fuck? What's going on? Oh, I don't know." All right, now
it's the end, Kelly. It's the end.
I'm telling you right now. Immediately when this happens, I'm like, okay, obviously somebody hired this guy to come out and shoot her. She was meant to die, maybe. And immediately I think it's Barry because he's the least likely.
Yes.
Because number one, he's your brother, and number two, he was right there. Okay.
Well, and we also got to say that after the mugger shoots Patty, and we don't know if she's dead, wounded. We don't know. She's on the ground laying. But when she's shot, Barry immediately pulls out of his jacket a gun and then kills the mugger. So basically, killing. It's like watching the JFK Oswald thing all over again. I mean,
Oswald. Yeah, exactly.
So. We don't know what was the motive. Why did the mugger shoot? Why, we'll never find out. He's dead. Not only that, Barry put more than one shot into him to make sure that it was done. But I wanted to ask you, at this point, who you thought the killer was. So you automatically jumped to Barry.
I changed my mind later on, but I'm like, this is too perfect.
Yeah.
Who would know? I mean, first of all, if it's not Barry, you've got to find someone who's going to make sure that Barry shoots the shooter,
Right. I thought... No, I was on the same train of thought as you were. I immediately jumped to the brother did it. It had to be. Because he was jealous... we find out specifics later, obviously, at the end. But I figured he was jealous of his sister. Because she's... It's probably some financial gain for him in some manner. And so he wants to take her out, or have her taken out. Mm-hmm. And the only way was that he hired, I figured, some bum off the street. Hey, I'll give you $20 to do this. It's a prank, and then kills them. After the fact, he shoots the mugger dead. So there's no story or anything that the police can dig into. But interesting.
Yeah, it seemed to. Yeah, and but there's other things that happen later because before the murder, I'm like, okay, it's not going to be Mark. Mark's going to probably be the one that's killed. If it hadn't been,
could have been Mark. I later kind of suspect Mark, but go on. I'm sorry.
It could have been. I guess I kind of suspected Cy too, but when he became more suspicious later on, they find out that he. Is basically he oversold the show, like he did what they do in The Producers, where he basically sold 150% of whatever the show is worth to the financiers, and he's going to have to pay all that money back. If
the show doesn't go on. Yeah. So that would be horrible for him to lose one of his stars.
Right, right, exactly. Oh, no. It would be good for him to lose one of his stars because then the show doesn't go on at all.
Or that produces so much press that people are like, oh, I never heard of this musical before. I've got to see it now. So that kind of that what do they call that kind of campaign, marketing campaign?
The producers, that's what they do in the producers, is that they try to they oversell the show and they make the show so bad that people actually enjoy it.
Well, no, they're getting free press in the news. Like, oh, so and so.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
A star from this Broadway musical that's about to come out. They'd probably sell out the first week from people just being curious. So they heard it on the news, right? I could see.
But there's another person. And they never talk about this, and that's Kate, Grady's girlfriend, because she is Patty's understudy.
Kate. Right, I didn't think of Kate. No, I never. But that's a good point. Yeah, she could have been.
So I don't know, but we just see her once later on, and he says something to her like, honey, you should have gotten that part. And I'm thinking, isn't that what an understudy is? But I guess when the actor dies or is shot, they have to bring in somebody new as opposed to the under. I don't know. I guess they could do whatever they want, which is exactly what Mark does. He brings in a new actress to play Patty's part, and her name is Lonnie Valerian, which is a great name for an actress.
A horrible movie. Horrible movie.
What?
Was it the guy who did the Fifth Element movies? What was the name of that film?
Fifth Element movies? There was only one, to my knowledge.
No, it was the director. He did another movie about 5 years ago about starting with a V, like Valium or Valium. Oh shit! I gotta look it up now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
The Valele. Okay, you keep talking. I'm gonna look it up because it's gonna be a real problem with me.
I'm looking it up now. Hold on, wait. Who was the Fifth Element director? It's like Marc LeBlanc.
It's Luc Besson. Luc Besson, is that right?
Yeah,
am I right?
That's right.
That's right. Luc Besson. Luc Besson. Okay, he made Valerian and The City of a Thousand Planets.
That's it. Yeah, horrible film.
Never heard of it. Really?
Fifth Element is one of my favorite films, and I was looking. You remember the trailer got me excited. Movie was horrible, absolutely trash.
Huh?
And this was from somebody who wanted to like it, but that was bad.
Okay.
All right. So Barry is now at the police station, and we're introduced to Detective Sergeant Marino. And Marino is kind of one of those lazy, well, I'm glad you took another bum off the streets. It's one less person we have to worry about. It's case closed. Apparently, he's
also with mention. Marino is into really carrots and celery. He keeps saying how he hates carrots, but he keeps eating them.
Yeah, he's like Bugs Bunny. He's always munching down on a carrot. But I like when Barry's kind of lamenting about how depressed he is, how sad he is, and the detective goes, "Oh, I should go for some linguine with clam sauce."
What? I don't remember this at all.
Well, he's Italian. I mean, I love linguine with clam sauce. That's one of my favorite meals. Yeah, and of course, I'm in Texas, so I can't get it. That's why I like it so much.
Well,
so if you want to send me some linguine with clams, I would definitely take it from you.
So yeah, okay. Just send it to our address that doesn't exist.
So send it to what's our Gmail account? So Detective Marino is talking to him, and Barry says something to the effect. Like, after that, he goes, well, Barry says, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, the bullet nicked my sister's spine. I don't know if it'll be permanent damage or if she'll even live. And he says, damn! Now, I'm thinking, is that a two-way message? Like, is he upset because that's the situation? That he couldn't save her and her getting hurt? Or is he upset because she's not going to die?
That's a good question, because then later on, Jessica sees the killer on the TV. His name is Manny, because she gets to see a picture of his corpse. But she recognizes from something like 10 years ago, and she videotapes it, and she brings it to Moreno, and she says, hey, here's the killer. Here's the shooter. He was on TV. And he's like, oh, that doesn't look like nothing like him. And I'm starting to think, dude, are you the killer?
Yeah.
like, you...
Well, he just doesn't care. Well, he said he had too many cases, which maybe... But yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He even Jessica even says like, "Well, I think you're wrong. I'm going to investigate it." And he basically tells her, "Look, if you get in trouble, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to come help you." And she's like, "I know. Like, I know you're not going to do your job." So, yeah, I'm not liking this guy.
Yeah, she goes off and she manages to track down this fellow that was doing the cards. At the time of the murder, or it's not a murder, the attempted murder, Taki, T-A-K-I. Now, for those of you who don't know, who may not live in the southern United States or in Mexico, Taki is the name of a Mexican chip that is very popular. Have you ever had these?
No.
I don't think I have either. They're kind of like Doritos, but they're rolled up. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, I've had those. I didn't know what the name of them were.
Jessica tracks him down by I don't know. There's this other lady that's doing the same.
Before we get there, you're skipping so much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's go back to Jessica. She is invited by Rita to come and talk and have some coffee talk. Mm-hmm. And we find out that from Rita, this is a really good scene because we get a lot of clues. A lot of things that will lead us to kind of narrow down what's going on or who the killer is. What we find out, Rita says she always keeps a fresh or pot of coffee on the stove, just something she always does. And we also learn that Barry as a producer hasn't been very successful. He's had a lot of movie, TV shows that just haven't hit, so he's had a lot of trouble financially. That she also, Rita, when she was famous, she had a lot of friends, but I think she said something along the lines of, on your way down from the top, you find out who your real friends are, and she has no friends now. And it didn't help, also, that she was an alcoholic. So she said she drank like a gallon of this stuff. She pulled out a bottle of, what was that, scotch? Would you say?
I don't know. She said, yeah.
She pulls out...
had it in her...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, she's had this unopened bottle for 17 years as a reminder of her sobriety. And she's like, I feel like I need to open it now because of Patty. Obviously, she cares very much about Patty. But yeah, so she's 17 years sober. And she's very tempted to open that bottle. And I'm thinking, that's probably hard to do. I don't know how you could do 17 years. That would be very difficult.
Yeah. I think that once I don't know. My theory is that once you get over the first year, it's pretty easy. And well, I shouldn't say that. I don't really know.
Well, both you and I used to smoke. And, I think we both quit that pretty easily.
Yeah, but what about drinking?
Well, obviously we still partake in that poison. But I'm completely over smoking. When was the last time? I can't remember the last time I had a cigarette.
I haven't had one since October of 2019. That was the last time I smoked a cigarette. Okay. Anyway, this is
Ruthless People. Danny DeVito kept his last cigarette in a plastic box. Do you remember that?
Oh my God, that's right. Oh man,
that's kind of like that.
I think about that movie all the time.
Really?
Just certain lines in it, like some lines that are dumb, some that aren't. But anyway, yeah, interesting.
Like when Kathleen Turner gives the cat steak in front of the dog and teases the dog.
Wait, no, sir, no. You're thinking of War of the Roses. That's the one with Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas.
Right.
And Danny DeVito is the lawyer.
Right. Well, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, he's got like a cigarette in a plastic box. It's his last cigarette.
Ruthless People is the one where he's married to Bette Midler, and he hires Judd Reinhold and his wife to kidnap her.
Oh,
and then
right. Okay.
And pretend to kidnap. No, he doesn't hire them. They do kidnap her, but he wants to kill her. So he's like, "Oh, this is so great!" But they end up bonding with her. And there's some other people. What's his name that play? Bill Pullman is in it. It's fun. It's like
okay. I'm thinking of War of the Roses. Then that's the one I'm thinking of. DeVito's the lawyer.
He pees on the fish. There's a scene where she's like a caterer, and she's going to have this big party for all her clients, and she's got this nice spread in the kitchen with this big fish, and he just stands up in the kitchen and pulls down his pants and just pees all over the fish.
DeVito?
No, this is Michael Douglas, because they're going through a divorce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway. I haven't seen that in so long. I don't know if it's any good. But anyway. All right. So
Jessica apparently has a gambling problem. She goes from street alleyways to street alley, looking for a good card shark, somewhere she can place her money down. And she actually, no, not really. She's looking for Tacky or whatever his name is. And I like how she does this though. She produces a $100 bill. Well, first off, the girl who's the card shark is trying to push her off, like, "Look, lady, if you're not playing, get out of here." And Jessica pulls out a $100 bill, and she says, "I bet you $100 that I'll speak to him tonight." And she rips the 100 in half and gives her the 1.5 and says, "You get the other half as soon as I talk to him." I like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Seems like Jessica's got some street smarts, you know?
Yeah, that's true. But how did she know that this girl knows Taki? And then, of course, we cut to her and Taki eating, and he's showing her how to eat. Is it empanadas?
Yeah, empanadas. I don't know what an empanada is. Do you?
It's a delicious Mexican pastry, and you could put anything in it you want. Cheese, meat, beans, whatever you like. And as he suggests, you can also put jalapeno sauce or salsa on it, which she cannot. She just, "Oh, no, thank you. Oh, no, I'm a lady. Oh, no, 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 no." So he basically just confirms what Jessica already knows, is that the gunman shot Patty.
It was still a fun scene, though.
I guess. I don't know. I suppose. If you say so. I was like, well, this is monotonous. This is just,
I thought it was a fun scene. But yeah, it's
okay. All right.
Well, yeah, it just proves that what we already know. That there was literally no time between give me your jewelry and then the shot. So Jessica, she decides, "Oh, I've got to go tell the detective Marino this new information, because it'll change his mind." And she walks in, and he's doing some Kegel exercises, I think, and that's what it looks like.
He's like, "I'm not hyperventilating. I'm exercising my abdomen." By the way, the actor who played this guy is named Gregory Sierra, and he died almost exactly 1 year ago today.
Really?
When I read that on IMDb, it said that he died January 4th, 2021, and I forgot that we're in 2022. So I'm like, "Oh my God, he died on Tuesday!" But no, he died a year ago. So,
yeah. Wow, that's awfully close to a year. Yeah, that's incredible.
82 years old. Yeah.
Wow. But yeah,
she's really mean. She's really mean to this guy. We've already covered this. Yeah, and she's like, "I'm going to find out who did this," and he's making fun of her, and he doesn't want to be bothered. Typical. Which, by the way, I don't know if you listen to a lot of true crime, but this happens a lot with true crime. The family's like, "Will you please look into this?"
Right.
All that, and the police don't look into it, or they do it wrong, or they do it but
half-assed,
that's bad. But the police handle a lot of murder cases. A lot. If you go to New York or L.A. or something like that. Or sometimes there's these smaller towns where it was like, well, they could have done that. I don't know what they're doing.
Well,
cow tipping or doing
well, I like
tippings or whatever.
I like that Jessica's not getting along with the case detective, because she always seems to get along. Every episode we reviewed, and ones that we haven't reviewed that I've watched independently, she always gets along with the detective. It's ridiculous.
And I think it's also important to note that this is the first episode we've done for the podcast in which the wrong suspect is arrested. Usually Jessica's friend, like Rita, would have been arrested by now or something like that. But maybe that's because the detective has already concluded that the gunman did it on his own.
Yeah, he kept saying the case is closed.
So then we cut to Jessica sitting down and talking to Milton Berle.
No.
And basically, his name is Luft. That's the scene
no,
after she
no,
talks to the detective.
No.
Okay, all right, fine.
Jessica and Rita go to the hospital, and that's when we find out that Patty will be okay. She's going to recover.
Oh, okay.
She's not going to be a cripple. She's not going to die.
I don't think you can say cripple. I don't think that's appropriate word anymore.
Well, you can edit that out, which I know you're not.
I don't even think you can say handicap anymore. I don't know.
Really?
No, I really don't know.
So we find out, we jump to back at the theater, at the Mayhew Theater, and Barry is getting ready. He's giving a speech. He's going to fire everyone. Basically saying, production's off. Sister can't perform. And even though Kate's there, the understudy, but he's letting everybody know. That's when the director, Mark, brings in Lonnie Valerian, and she comes from L.A., and she's going to replace Patty.
Right.
Of
Even
course,
though she sings very badly, according to Statler and Waldorf, and she doesn't know that the scene was cut that she's looking forward to. But
Barry's against. Yeah, well, hold on. Barry's against this.
Uh-huh.
And again, it kind of reinforces my opinion that he's a killer, or he's the one behind everything. And I like how Cy goes to him and says to Barry, "Isn't there some sort of tradition when something like this comes up? The show must go on," is I think what he's referencing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true. You're right. Yeah.
I like Cy's little jab at Barry there.
Yeah. So Milton Berle, we find out that he was the agent of the gunman, whose name was Morley Farmer. Is that right?
Yep.
Morley Farmer.
Marley. Yep.
And is it Marley or Morley?
I have Morley.
Morley. Yeah, it's probably Morley. I put down that his name is Manny, but that was his fake name. And he's like, "Oh yeah, he used to be or not big in Hollywood, but he was in a lot of stuff in Hollywood." And
when you were upset with the card shark eating street tacos with Jessica as being not necessary, we discussed at the very beginning, but this is probably one of the most unnecessary scenes in the entire episode.
I agree. And they even he name drops. There's a scene or there's a moment where he's like,
"Yes,
how you doing, Henny? Old suit, huh?
Still wearing the same suit, huh?" But he's doing his Milton Berle. I don't know.
He's just don't be in Milton Berle and men. Henny, of course, refers to Henny Youngman, the late Jewish comedian, and yeah, it's. Yeah,
I don't think Milton Berle is playing. Was it Lou? What was Lou Feldman? I think Milton Berle is playing Milton Berle.
Yeah,
I'm not Berle. Milton Berle. Sorry. So,
she says to him, "Could you get me a list of all of the gunman Morley's credits?" And he's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll work on that, and I'll get to you get you to it by the end of the day."
Man, Jessica really could use IMDb.
I know, right? Because it turns out that the credit list is what she needs in order to solve the murder.
Right.
And it seems to me that he's like, "Well, I don't go to the office. I work right here. I don't like my secretary." What does that mean?
I don't know. I feel like that was a jab. That was a jab, an inside joke. We weren't privy to.
I don't like my secretary because she doesn't like me because I keep showing her my big dick and she doesn't like it, even though I've shown my big dick to everybody in Hollywood that asks about it. But anyway.
Wow.
That's supposed to be true, according to Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, yeah, of course. Gilbert says it. So the scene, I timed it. I was curious, how much time did this Milton Berle scene take up of the episode? Any idea? Any guess?
I don't know. Tell me.
2 minutes and 1 second.
That's not bad.
2 minutes.
That's not so bad.
2 minutes of nothing.
Meanwhile,
2 minutes. I honestly, I felt like this kind of stopped the episode for me.
It didn't for me, but whatever. Okay. Meanwhile, tension's back at the set between Barry and Mark. And Mark insults Patty, and as a result, Barry has to punch him in the face and have to be held back by Grady and the other guy, who remains nameless.
But yeah, apparently, Barry does not. He's got a very short fuse. You can easily kind of not trick him, but not coerce, but
you can easily intimidate him.
I wouldn't say intimidate, but you can rile him up easily by throwing insults. And he throws a very good insult, which doesn't really make sense until later when you find out why. But he says something basically like, "Oh, you're just like your sister. You're riding off the coattails of your mother," and that's when he punches Mark. Which you find out later that is a very sensitive nerve for Barry. One of the reasons why he does what he does later. I think it's interesting because Rita, and this is all part of. By the way, if you haven't guessed by now, Barry's the killer or the mastermind. But his plan is to get his mother agitated, basically, and so he's keeping her in this production on purpose, and he's making sure that whatever the production is doing is adding to that tension on set. And Rita gets pissed because she's noticing that Lorraine's role is growing. Before, with Patty, it was shrinking, but now it's ever growing. And so, obviously, that's pissing off Rita. And then Barry's like, "Oh, we got to take her off. She can't handle it. She can't handle it." Purposely kind of pushing things in the direction that suits him, you know. Sorry.
And in the meanwhile, Grady and Jessica go off for a romantic carriage ride where Grady explains to her Cy's motive for murder, and that's about him overselling the show. And they go to Morley's. I have to talk about one particular character, Morley's apartment.
Yeah.
Was it an apartment though? Side of town.
Was it an apartment? It was in a theater.
It was in a theater. Yeah. Like a bunch of actors lived there, and they did productions or something like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Cabaret. If you've ever seen that movie, The Lady in Cabaret. Oh, I can't remember the name of her name, but she was. She lived in a similar place, but she was also a sex worker. But there's this lady. I don't know who she is. Who she's the landlady.
Yeah.
She speaks very distinctly like this.
Oh, she chews the lines up. Oh my god, she is you. Once lines start coming out of her mouth, you are drawn to her immediately because she is the outlier.
Yes.
It's like, what is going on with the accent?
Yeah, why are you talking like this? She reminded me very much. There's this movie called Sleepaway Camp from the 80s. And in the beginning, we see the aunt sending her niece and nephew, or maybe it's her son and her niece, I don't know, off to sleepaway camp, and she's speaking very much like that, and and it's awesome and it's hilarious, and I if we were still doing the old podcast, we'd eventually watch that movie. It's on Netflix now, of course. Now it is, but it's hilarious. Sleepaway Camp and all of its progeny. So they're like, okay, let's get. She tells them that Morley found somebody who said that they were going to produce his script that he's been peddling forever, and that they were going to make his movie and finance his movie, and it was a guy, and then
that immediately reconfirms either Barry or Cy. So
right,
yeah.
So she's like, okay, Grady, hurry up and go to Cy. Scoot! She literally says that as a cab drives her off. She rushes to...
Well, hold on. But before they leave that scene, something that kind of I found humorous was while Grady and Jessica are talking to that stage manager, or whatever she is, the one that's joined up the scene, that she's talking about, the benefactor, Morley's benefactor. Grady is noticing off the side that there are these actors doing these aerobic stretches. Like one of them's a woman, and she's like wearing a leotard, very I don't know,
sexy.
Yeah, very sexy, very tight outfit. And while they're talking, you see Grady looking off like he's mesmerized. Really? Yeah, like he's mesmerized by what's going off camera where the people are working out, and Jessica's gonna grab him. He's just so enthralled at what's going on. I don't know if that was in the script, but the guy who plays Grady, I thought that was genius. I loved it. That was funny.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So they she goes off to Rita's apartment, and lo and behold, there's Rita on the floor. She's got an empty pill bottle, that empty bottle of booze lying next to her. The oven's open. The gas is on.
Everything. There's a nuclear bomb counting down.
There are ninjas in the apartment.
There's ninjas walking around. There's poisonous snakes on the floor. I mean, there's a shark in the aquarium. I mean, it's just it's all over the place.
Obviously.
Overkill.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, finally somebody's dead in our Murder, She Wrote program. And so, Jessica starts looking concerned, and she tells the guy who let her in, call the police and all that, and her looking concerned, and oh, finally someone's dead, and my evil heart could rest easy when we finally have a murder. No, she's not dead.
Morley died. That doesn't count.
What?
Morley, or that actor.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But
just because he's a poor actor, you don't count him. He's a person too.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Steve.
It's because he's not a famous starlet like Rita was. Doesn't mean he's a less person. Jeez.
If he would have put a beat in between asking for the jewels or the money and then shooting, then maybe
I will say this: Morley is. I think even Milton says it. Milton Berle says something like he's like the unluckiest actor on the planet. And I'm like, yeah, he kind of is, huh?
I'll say, I agree. Yeah. And
he's the unluckiest actor on the planet.
Yeah,
he should have gone into some other profession. Poor guy.
Now, in movies, anytime especially a murder mystery, if somebody like Rita is in critical condition in the hospital, where they normally just let the family come in, like it would just be the sister and the brother, the two kids.
Yeah.
Everybody in the theater company is there. Mark, the director, is there. Cy, the financier, is there. Everybody who's anybody. And we also find out Angela. Oh my God! Jessica says offhand to Grady, by the way, Cy's up. She says a word. It's not uppity. They're
but the lawyers.
Yeah, his lawyers and my lawyers play squash together.
Right. And
I happen to know that he made some poor investments. So boom, boom, boom. It must be Cy. It must be Cy. Right, everybody? No! I'm thinking, no. Now I'm thinking, it's Barry. It's Barry. It's got to be Barry.
Got to be.
And they're going to point out to it. They're going to point it out any moment now. Yeah. And Grady gets the list. He got the list of Morley's his curriculum vitae from Milton Berle. Mm-hmm. He shows it to Jessica, and this is where Jessica should be like, "Hey, let's get Barry's CV and see what else he's been in." But no, she can tell by just looking at Morley's CV that he was in something with Barry, or maybe she asked Rita. And we were not.
I thought it was discussed that. Well, I think when Rita just says like he had a lot of failed, not experiences, but failed productions and stuff like that. I think. I don't know.
So there's a scene in the hospital cafeteria, and I'm like, this is going to be it. Because we've got our 4 main suspects sitting there at the table together. Grady's sitting off at the side. And by the 4 suspects, I mean Barry, Mark, Cy, and Lonnie. I'm thinking this is going to be it. She's going to reveal it all. She's going to, pretend that they're all in. No. It's announced over the loudspeaker. Mr. Barry, would you please come
Your
to
mom's
the ICU
dead.
or whatever? Yeah, basically that's what we're told. Cut to
over
Jessica and Barry. Jessica and Barry alone. And she's serving him coffee, and he's like, I can't believe she's gone. All right.
Yeah. Now, I'm surprised. This is probably one of the stupidest things Jessica ever did. In a private room, and confronts the killer. And he's a young man.
Yeah.
He's obviously got a temper, because if you push his buttons, he will punch you. Which was proven with Mark. And she pushes his buttons, and doesn't, not once, but multiple times. And she even takes a really weird voice with him. At one point where he's, she's like, oh, what does he say? Like, yeah, Mom, she didn't, it's sad that she started drinking again, with Patty. It really kind of broke her. And she goes, and then Jessica goes up to goes, why are you lying to me? Or something. Yeah. She does it like in this weird tone.
Why are you lying to me, Barry? Well, isn't it true that you've always thought,
Of course you murdered your mother. Why are you talking? And she's just like pushing him, keeps pushing him to the edge. And I'm surprised he didn't strangle her, which
that's
he
exactly
does eventually.
What I thought was, and he does grab her, and it turns out she thinks he did it for the money. Mm-hmm. And you know what? When you really think about it, he's fucking evil. He's probably the most evil murderer that we've had.
Well, he never felt love. He always felt like his mother was abandoned him, that Patty was the favorite. And we kind of see that in this.
He was like Christine in Mommy Dearest, basically.
I thought of Mommy Dearest at the beginning of this episode when...
Really?
At the very beginning when she was watching her old film. And you see he was blonde. Of course, the adopted brother and sister were blonde, and I don't know why that just immediately flashed in my mind. Was that film?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sorry, I was taking a sip of my.
So yeah, basically Barry admits to it all, and then goes to, I guess, wring Jessica's neck, grabs her by the shoulders.
It looked like he was going to throw her out the window, frankly, and then we hear Barry, and turn to look at the doorway. And I guess this was obviously planned. Like, maybe Jessica didn't feel that much in danger. Maybe. Were there cops there? I don't know.
No. I didn't see any. And I would think the cops should be there. I was just shocked.
Yeah. Let's have some protection. Barry, and it's Rita. She's standing there, and he's like, Mother, I thought you were dead. And she's like, no, Jessica talked me into this. I didn't die. It was all to, okay, all right. And then... Okay, cool. And it's Barry, and I don't think we see him arrested. We just see she talks to her son, and I can't remember what is said exactly.
I love you.
But Jessica, something like that. I still love you, even though you tried to kill me, and I'm so sorry for all the years that I went through as an alcoholic and left you alone, and blah 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 blah. Standard language we put in. Jessica's watching on. Now, for all we know, Barry could have jumped out the window. Commandeered a car and took off. Because does he get arrested? What happens to Barry? I want to know. Yeah, we don't know. Did they let him go? I don't think they would.
Jessica would. No, I don't think Jessica would do that. Yeah. No, even in 50 Mile, I mean, I thought she was going to let those guys loose or let them go. No, she was going to turn them in.
Or the one where it was actually the detective's kid that was the murderer. Remember that one?
Yeah, the drug. He was a narc. Yeah.
I mean, that one, she was like, "No, I got to stop at the police department," and he was like, "Oh shit."
Oh no.
But but we're not done yet. We still have one more scene to go. We need to have that freeze frame shot of Jessica laughing at the end. If we don't,
we're gonna have a happy ending.
It's not gonna work. Yeah. So. Cut to her. She's back in her house in Cabot Cove. She's typing away at the typewriter, writing her next magnum opus. Grady calls her on the phone, and he's like, "Oh, Kate and I broke up. She left me for a plumber or some shit like that. I can't remember what. And
a weatherman from Philadelphia.
A weatherman from Philadelphia. There you go. And he's like, but listen to this. And he holds the phone out. And, you know, I can't remember who's is it Patty back in the role again?
Yeah, Patty's
back in the role.
So it's a success. People are applauding. It's a hit.
Of course.
Yeah. Cy's been turned into the IRS or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's in trouble.
Of course, people are going to come to see this show that, you know, the star's brother and son tried to kill them. My God, who can stay away from that?
No shit.
And the financier stole money from the financiers.
But you know what the funny part is, Sean? That one scene that one moment where we got to have Jessica laugh is Grady says, "Well, you got to come and see the show, and you can meet my new girlfriend, Francesca." Because like you said, yeah. Because Grady is a womanizing prostitute.
He's a man whore.
He's a man
and
whore.
She laughs. Freeze frame. Produced by so and so.
Oh,
Produced
Grady,
by Bruce Lee.
You silly.
Grady,
Can't get enough of that strange, huh?
Oh boy, yeah. You know, every time this happens, and it's pretty much every fucking time, you know, and they have to have her laughing, then freeze frame, produced by Bruce Lansbury, and then I'm reminded of that old Saturday Night Live commercial, Big Red, where it's the kid's toy, and you put the red ink in it, and it spins around and spreads red ink everywhere, and the parents walk in, and it spreads red ink all over them, and the parents are like, oh, and then they stop and they go, oh. And it's got this song, Big Red, Big. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
I vaguely remember this, yeah.
Okay. So that's the end of Broadway Malady. All right, Steve, what are we going to rate this out of? Please tell me.
So a lot of numbers in this one, if you were paying attention, that is. So one number specifically stuck in my mind that just had to be the number we review. So, Sean, what would you rate tonight's episode out of half a yard?
Half a yard?
That's what the car dealer says when Jessica tears the $100 bill. I'm assuming a yard is $100, so a half yard would be $50. Okay. So if it's easier, what would you rate this one out of $50?
You know, I do have issues with this. I thought it was really easy for her to solve. Like, maybe, or this is maybe just me in 2022 thinking about it. Like, all she needs to do is look at IMDb. But what did she do after she got Morley's CV? Did she go to Rita and ask her about Barry's CV because she suspected Barry of killing them, trying to kill them both so he can get the money? It's not clear. It's way too easy.
It seems like that would be a difficult thing to tell Rita. Hey, Rita, I think your son's trying to kill you, so let's play this little game.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a fake... the fake death is pretty cool. I totally thought... But they even put up a fake clue about the empty coffee pot in the stove. I'm like, oh, that's a good clue. No, it doesn't matter because it's all been set up. She makes that up, even though it might be really true. I don't know. And how do you drug somebody and then put alcohol into
I
their
was
system?
wondering the same damn thing.
How do you do that?
Do you get a funnel? Do you get a funnel and you just ram it down their throat? You just pour the whole bottle. How do you get them to swallow barbiturates? It's a pill. So
yeah,
how do
forgive me. It's not a fake clue. I take that back. The coffee thing is not a fake clue because he put the whatever knocked his mother out into the coffee. But yeah, and then he ingested the body. He must. Yeah, I don't know. And it's like the whole damn bottle. Because that whole empty bottle was lying there.
Yeah, if he was smart, he would have left like a half bottle. I don't know. If I were to buy a bottle of vodka or if I were to drink the whole bottle in an afternoon, I'd be dead.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I mean, I can't say. I can't. It's impossible.
How does anybody drink a whole bottle? I don't even know how that's.
But yeah, it's a bit much. overkill. I'd say it's what we call overkill. It's what we call psychotic. Clue. But it's a bit tenuous, and it's also a bit obvious. But the way that we get there is still a little bit enjoyable, or rather a lot. I tend to agree with you about the scene with Taki, and I don't agree with you about the scene with Milton Berle. Mm-hmm. Overall, I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, there's worse things I could watch in 45 minutes, like 1970s porn. I don't know. I'm just going to give it a quarter of a yard, right down the middle.
$25. Okay.
$25, yeah. $25. All right. And how about you, sir?
Does that make you holla?
$25 should do make me holla. Mm. I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about this one. It was I felt obvious who the killer was, Barry, up front. And I was going to ask you, when do you think Jessica probably figured it out? I thought for sure she figured it out when they were at that apartment, or Morley's apartment, when they were talking to that stage manager. I thought that's when she put it together. Like, that's got to be it. But I think as the audience, I figured it out pretty early.
Yeah.
Maybe,
as the audience, I mean, I kind of figured it the moment she was shot.
Well, and maybe Greg Henry, who plays Barry, he just looks evil. Maybe that's why he came back in Crimson Harvest. He just looks like a bad dude. He's up to no good. So maybe he just portrayed that too well.
Yeah, he is one of two actors now that I've seen on the show. The other actor is rather a little more famous than he is, that has played both a victim and a murderer on Murder, She Wrote. So that's the second time I've seen it. I'm not going to say who the other one is. I don't want to ruin it. Okay. It'll ruin the episode. But, yeah.
I mean, everything was well acted. I enjoyed it. I thought Grady was a great kind of comic relief. I had no problems with anything, really. I mean, I liked that the relationship with the detective was uncommon for this show, where he just basically says, "You're on your own. I'm not helping you." As a matter of fact, it was a hurdle. He wasn't helping at all. I thought Vivian Blaine was great. It was neat. I like this story where it's a starlet. I mean, in this case, she didn't kill her husband because he wouldn't finance her latest production. But I think it's something that we all, maybe as I get older, it's something we kind of consider. It's like, when you start getting older, things start going down, and as Rita said, you start finding out who your real friends are. The scene where you were talking about when Jessica walks into her apartment, smells gas and the booze.
Oh my god!
And I'm thinking, and I thought to myself, this is how I expect to find Sean one day. But overall,
wait, hold on. I just have to say,
yes.
38 minutes ago, we have another death. Bob Saget was found dead in his Florida hotel room.
What?
65 years old. Yeah.
Bob Saget.
Yeah. I mean, Sidney Poitier, Betty White. I mean, this is like Norm Macdonald Part 2.
Wow. Okay, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, neither did I. Because my CNN gives me these little notifications, and I look down at my phone for our next little thing that we have to do, and it said Bob Saget was found dead in his hotel room.
No other details? Like,
he just was found dead in his hotel room.
Was there
at the age of 65?
Booze and barbiturates with the gas on? I don't
know.
I doubt it.
When people
knowing the kind of humor Bob Saget does, he would find that funny. So don't give me hate email because of that. But yeah, that's sad. Rest in peace, Bob. So out of this, I guess I'd give it about the same. Just to be slightly better than you, I'll give it $26.
Okay, slightly better than me. Yeah, I do get the impression that you liked it better than I did.
Yeah, but it was a little obvious, I think. Though it wasn't so ridiculous that if it was like Kate, the understudy, that came out of nowhere, or even Lorraine, the girl who replaced her, that would have pissed me off. If they were the killers.
I would have pissed
me
off.
They would have showed... Like, Lorraine, she showed up late in the episode, in the last 15 minutes. That would have... I mean, that happens. Sometimes they introduce somebody later.
Would it really have pissed you off if it was Kate?
Because she had such little amount of scenes involved. Yeah, it would have.
Okay.
Because it would have given us a chance to kind of understand, like, oh, maybe she was jealous, or maybe, I don't know. Give us a reason she...
Right.
I don't know.
Flesh out the character a little bit more.
Right, yeah.
Other than giving us just the two facts that, number one, she's Grady's girlfriend. Number two, she's Patty's understudy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it.
All right. So, that being said, the cats are hauling in the Season 3 Wheel of Fortune.
Uh-huh.
Steve, would you please go ahead and spin the wheel? Okay. All right. So the wheel actually landed on the first entry, the first episode of Season 2, which is called Widow Weep for Me. And this is what it's about. Jessica's trip to a Caribbean resort is filled with sun, sand, and a murder investigation.
In the Caribbean.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Nice.
It's not in the Cabot Cove.
Did we get
Len Carew and Sid Charisse guest star. I don't know who Len Carew is. I barely know who Sid Charisse is, but okay. Widow Weep for Me. I'm telling you,
is it weep or weeps?
Widow Weep for Me. Widow, weep for me. Okay. This must be when they started the tradition of the first episode for every season. She would go abroad. That's just
really
personal.
Okay.
Yeah. Not true, I think, for the first season and the later seasons, but it seems like they started to do that. So, with that, Steve, if you will bid the ladies and gentlemen adieu.
Adieu.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Cabot Cove Confab. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at Cabot Cove Confab or email us at cabotcoveconfab@gmail.com.